Moving on, we're going to be looking at operating signals, and by operating signals we mean codes like the Q code and the International Phonetic Alphabet. Now, for standard and advanced regulations, you need to know some of the basic. You need to know the phonetic alphabet, and you need to know some of the basic Q codes. For foundation, you only need to know what the Q code and the phonetic alphabet are used for. Now I'm back to amateur operating procedures. I have to say ACMA's left quite a few things off this page. But never mind, I'm going and finding them elsewhere to make up for it. The Q code was originally just meant for Morse code. It was an easy way to abbreviate things. But it has become common, and has been for decades, to use the Q code on radio telephony. Q codes can be expressed as a question or as a response to a question. So QDH question mark means what is your location. QDH followed by a location means you are providing your location. And here we have on this page some of the common Q codes. Now, there really are about over 200 different Q codes, but there's only about 20 listed for amateur radio. And of those 20, there are only about 6 that are commonly used. I'll just have a look through here to see which ones. QRO, it's not used, but I've seen it in exams. Increase power, please increase your power. QRP means a QRP operator is a low power the station, so if you hear a station calling, this is VK2YE QRP, you know that station is using very, very low power. He's probably trying to achieve something with modest equipment over a long distance, so he might announce that he's QRP. QRQ, rarely ever hear that. Shall I send faster? And that's normally a Morse code thing. QRS, send more slowly. So if you are doing telegraphy and the station is sending to you too fast, just send the transmission QRS. QRT, it is used. It just means you're shutting down. You're turning the station off. You're shutting down. If you say this is VK4XYZ QRT, that means that's it. You're gone. You're finished. You're not going to hang about anymore. QRV, QRX, yes, sometimes I wouldn't be too fussed about that. QRZ, if someone calls you and you don't hear their call sign properly, you could go QRZ. You can even go QRZ, and you might have heard part of their call sign. You might have heard Kilo Bravo. So you go QRZ station Kilo Bravo QRZ, and he'll know that you're wanting to try and get the rest of his call sign, or she. QSB is fading of signals. So, you might be talking to someone and the signals are fading up and down, up and down, up and down. So at times you're not hearing everything, so you might say to the operator you're talking to, you've got QSB. QSL, in my view, is a very important one, because QSL means I heard and understood everything you said. There are some radio amateurs who really do like talking a lot, and they have an over, and they talk, and they talk, and you go and make yourself a cup of tea, maybe a scone with jam and cream, and you come back, they're still talking. You've been listening, and they talk. When they finish, you just go QSL, which means I acknowledge I got all of that, not a problem, you probably didn't. But you don't want them to repeat it, so just say QSL, and it means you've heard everything. A QSO is, in amateur radio, it is used instead of the word conversation. I had a QSO with BK blah blah blah. It means I had a conversation with blah 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 blah. It's not really used on air to say I'm in QSO with so and so. But a QSO, and it's normally pronounced QSO. So you might be talking to a bunch of radio amateurs, and you'll hear one of them say, "I had a QSO with Fred the other night." It means you had an on-air contact, a conversation with him. So there. Look, the ones I've highlighted, I really think if you know the ones I've highlighted, I think you're going to be fine for the exam. I might add QRM and QRN. There is a number after. QRM means man-made interference, and the level of interference is 1 to 5, where 5 is bad. So if you're getting a lot of interference, it's QRM. Think of M as man-made. So QRM, man-made interference, followed by a number. And QRN is natural. The N is natural interference. So QRN and a number 1 to 5 is the level of interference you're getting. And I wouldn't worry about the other ones. You're not going to get perhaps more than one Q code in an exam. Next is the phonetic alphabet. Most people know this. A lot of people who use telephones use the phonetic alphabet. A, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and so on. It's not hard to remember. You just need to practice spelling things out verbally and trying to use the phonetic alphabet. When you use amateur radio, you'll find that a lot of stations change the phonetic alphabet. An American operator might say Philadelphia rather than Papa, Mississippi rather than Mike, Ontario rather than Oscar. Look, I have to say that is poor operating practice, because the phonetic alphabet is designed to help other operators understand what you're saying in noisy circumstances. And the other thing that's worth noting is that if you're an English-speaking person, then the words of the phonetic alphabet actually mean something. Alpha is the first letter of the Greek alphabet, but I only know that because I speak English. Bravo, clap, clap, bravo. Charlie's a man's name. Delta, part of a river. Echo, hello, hello, hello. Foxtrot, it's a dance. Golf's a game. Hotel's where you get a beer. India's a country. Juliet's a woman's name. Kilo is an engineering notation. Lima is a bean. Mike's a man's name, and so on. They all mean something. Whiskey's not a bad drink. Tango's a dance, and so on. But to a non-English speaking person, these don't mean anything. They are sounds. So they learn the sound alpha means A, and they learn the sound Juliet means J. And if you go and change the sound, if you change Papa to Philadelphia or Portugal, then the sound is different to them. So it's my personal opinion. There would be those that disagree with me, I'm sure, but I think it is poor operating practice to use phonetic words which aren't part of the International Phonetic alphabet.